So, okay. Here's the deal. Welcome in. Jason, our humble leader in
They can't see you. You have to turn your camera on for this to have an effect. He's
It's
doing
okay.
he's doing like very
Jason,
important hand motions.
I do
right now.
this stuff for you.
No.
I wish you guys could see that, but you'll never. Yes,
He wishes you could see it, which he could if he turned the camera on.
I won't.
But he
I
won't
do it. Now, chat. I'm going to take the bullet today for being late.
No, it's mine because the forklift broke.
I'm going to take it for you. I'm taking it for you.
Well, it wasn't my fault the forklift broke. I wasn't even driving the forklift. I got nabbed on the way here, which would have been on time because it was 1:55.
Okay, that's different.
And I got nabbed on the way here because the forklift broke. It's outside in the back of the building. Luckily, it's in the gated security area of the back of the building, but it's on the gated area of the back of the building.
Okay.
Broken. So there you go.
It's broken. Oh. No, it's not broken. Our hearts.
It's broke down.
It broke down.
It says it won't start. So it's either one, overheated and needs to get to its cooldown threshold, or two, there's something, maybe the connector on the brake pedal or something that allows you the start.
Okay.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
We just had the battery changed, so it should be fine. But.
In chat, see what the world tries to do to us.
Slapsack, see? Yeah, yep. Chris screws up the forklift, and I have to take the heat for it.
I had a little joyride last night. That's false, in fact.
That's false. I can just see you putting down the street.
This is really going to make Jason late to stream.
7.5 miles an hour.
What's up, everybody? Sarcastic, Hoosier,
T-Schmidt, why'd you miss us?
Why did you? Sup, nerds, missed you yesterday. Where were you?
Are you saying you prioritized something over stream yesterday?
And if you say family and friends, be mad.
He's going to be something with, hey, Chris, it's going to be something with the kids.
Oh, enough with the kids.
Enough with the kids.
Kids are great. We get it. Kids are the loves of your life.
Yeah, Chris drove the thing down to Quick Trip.
I did.
Or at Circle K.
They looked at me funny.
Quick Trip's too far.
What you looking at?
He says he was sick.
We're sick? Well, then that's like the perfect time to watch streams, T-Schmidt. What are you talking about? You were sick? Oh, my eyes are sealed shut. Oh.
Swifter Bear, nice. Hope you're feeling better.
Swifter Bear, welcome in.
Goopster says, sprays to Canada? Nah.
Nah.
We decided you guys don't deserve them.
Good afternoon.
Wave 3 of the sprays should hit our factory tomorrow. So as long as all that happens, we get packed in and inventory throughout the rest of the week. Then I'm hoping for a Tuesday release for Wave 3 in the States. And at the same time, we'll be packing up for our first Canadian shipment. Hoosier says if he was vomiting, it's hard to watch while puking. With that attitude, it is.
Yeah.
Jeez.
With that attitude. Hey, you know what I've been told recently?
I know a couple of whats, a couple of who's, a why, and a few hows.
You know what I have been told recently?
What?
I didn't. Okay, wait a second. Go back. Tell me who the who is. Tell me who this who is. Listen, Chris. Listening to Chris just puts me to sleep from boredom.
And now you know why it's so hard to do this stream for 2 hours.
We might be on
the way over here. Everybody in the office was like, "How you doing today, Jason?" I said I'd be doing better if I didn't have to go spend 2 hours with Christopher.
Oh, buried alive.
You got in bed like 30 minutes before stream and got woken up at dinner?
That sounds like the life. That's luxury. Luxury.
You just need to make sure that somebody at your household, preferably your wife, goes ahead and puts earphones in your ears while you're sleeping. That is the stream. That way you get it by like osmosis.
Ooh,
right?
Speaking of osmosis.
Which is not what that is at all.
Source.
Really bad segue. But.
14 months. And Swifter Bear as well yesterday for 6 months. Thank you both.
Never heard of them.
We appreciate you.
Never heard of them. Made up names.
Even a shirt, yes, Resident. We are happy that your cart is filled and ready to go.
You know what really bugs me?
Yes.
What?
I don't know. Tell me.
You know what really bugs me?
What really bugs you,
is
Jason?
That after all of these years,
How many years?
Of me sharing my real persona with you.
That's-
You guys are just fake names on the internet still.
That's 9 years.
That's not openness, vulnerability, and honesty, chat.
I don't know where we're going with this one, but chat, it's on you now.
Pop Chick says, wasps bug me.
Oh. Oh, God.
Oh, God. 9 years of this.
Dude, you know where we all live. It's right here, Mo.
That's also true.
And this is true. Cannibal did fully introduce herself at Nova Open last year.
We know a lot of you personally.
I love it when people come up to me and be like, hey, they'll talk to me. And then I'm like, you got to remind me. And then I get to put a name to the face. It's one of my favorite things of all time. Love doing that.
Yeah, it's always amazing to me how many people are like, oh, I can't go talk.
Oh, please.
All right, dude, we are real people just like you.
I beg you. Oh, and this is true. I've met Okran. Wife, we had a painting night. Number says, got my amp paints from Element Games today.
Nice.
Got fantastic colors.
Nice.
Muted tones, perfect for Skyrim miniatures. Nice. Now, here's a technical. Right out the nitty gritty.
Okay.
So when you paint, like when you went back and painted the sections where you're going to do all of this metal, so like where you went back and you picked out the spots of dark navy blue, what was that called? Because today I was trying to label
what was
something.
It called?
Yeah, like you were just going back and finding the metal bits, but I guess was the techniques you were just going back and rebasing certain areas? Yeah. That's it, right? That's it. Yeah, that's all for me. Good night.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing when you go back in like this. You're just.
It's not called blocking, is it?
I mean, I call things blocking in.
Blocking in. I don't know why
is a good way to describe it.
I didn't know it came up. I was trying to tell. We were coming up with a couple little graphic things for socials, and I'm like, oh, here's a picture of him blocking in something. I didn't know what it was called in my mind.
Yeah, blocking in color is what we call, some people call it like sketching.
Okay.
Blocking in. I call it blocking in when it's something like this, that we have defined areas. You know, think about it like coloring book. Blocking in colors in a coloring book because we painted the white. Yeah. And now what we're doing is going back and filling in the gaps where we know we don't want white, but we had like overspray and such. You know, so I call that blocking in. Whether that's a correct term, I don't know. That's a color or a term that I've used in painting, whether cars or whatever for forever, it seems like.
Yeah, it's just simple blocking in, but the technique is just you're going back and just rebasing color essentially. Yeah. I don't know why I was so stuck on that.
That's all it is. And technically right now we're just blocking in highlights.
I have a dear friend of mine in stream, the Gaming Garage, Austin. He's new to stream. Good to hear from you.
Any friend of Chris scares the hell out
Austin
of me.
Austin is a good friend. Go way back.
Do you? Or are you making this up?
55 years, Jason.
Do all your past wives?
Yes. Been there since day one. No, chat. If you all didn't know, I am actually 63 years old. I have reverse Benjamin Button disease. Think about that. Anyway, ride or die. That's right. That's right. Ride or die. Any friend of Chris will eventually work in Monument Hobbies.
Also true.
There is a potential, so be careful out there. Hey, chat, you're all my friend. So what does that mean for us?
Not that we're hiring all these guys. That ain't gonna happen.
Don't do it. Anyway, hey, you know what day it is?
Tuesday.
You know what? It feels like not a Tuesday.
You're like,
I don't know, man. Today's.
You gotta do better than that. If you're gonna say it's not feeling like a Tuesday,
Doesn't feel like a Tuesday.
But then you can't tell us what it does feel
you
like.
ever just feel like it's just a straight up day, Jason?
Just a generic day?
Just a
What does a generic day feel like?
this one. We're in it. It's happening right now. If y'all need a software engineer, you can color me in, says Papa Chicken.
What kind of software?
Close to, hardware. I need to back up.
You're not even a little bit sorry. That's the biggest problem.
I am all over
That's
the place.
the biggest problem here.
I'm all over the place.
That you're not sorry in the least. Just do this as if there's no repercussions, and the rest of us just have to live with it.
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, absolutely yes. But you know what? I need to apologize to Stream for something.
What's that?
For getting us derailed.
He just wants to blow the whistle.
We're back. This is a serious business stream today.
He does this just so he can blow that dang whistle.
No, I need to do it so that
it's the only reason he does this, Jeff.
It's a mental what is it? It's a mental reset for me. Welcome in, everybody. We are so glad you are here and that you've chosen Monument Hobbies as your viewing stream of pleasure today. It is a beautiful 85 degrees out here. We've moved the whole stream outside, by the way.
We have?
It's 82 degrees. We fixed our AC on this side of the building, so no more light issues. Thank goodness.
Oh, they did fix it, didn't they?
They did. Oh, my heavens. You guys just missed it. That was Gabe.
What did Gabe do?
What does Gabe do?
What did Gabe do just now?
He just gave me a memory card for a picture machine. Called a camera.
That dang picture machine.
That dang picture machine. As Chris gave me a thumbs up when I said when I moved back to Arizona until I sent my first application to you guys, got approved. You got approved? What do you mean you got approved? What that means? It means you're moving?
Somebody work here? I didn't hire him.
Rizzo, are you moving to Arizona? Miraculous. Wow.
We are hiring.
94 months. Woohoo! Holy numbers, Batman is right.
Wow, dude.
94 months? Where?
That's a lot.
Holy
That's
Moses.
a lot of months.
That is a lot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we have 3 positions open right now. We have a fulfillment team position, a production team a position, and a marketing team position.
You have a lot. Source, speaking of a lot going on, question. I know you tend to haphazardly mix your colors to your liking on your palette, but say I wanted to get a perfect 50-50 mix every time. Mm-hmm. Would you use a palette or a container?
You'd have to do something you can measure into if you're really trying to get specific.
A 50-50?
Yeah. Again, hard. In acrylic paints, there's never a need that I could see where you need to do that. But if it's just something you're doing for fun or you want to feel 100% sure, then yeah, using a measuring cup or something, and a pipette that has a ability to measure would be the way to do it.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're trying to do is this a scientific 50-50? Because at that point, you're going into... I like how you said that Jason does his haphazardly paint mixing. We're going to shut that little cockpit there. Don't mind that little man in the seat. That's a Christopher fault, unfortunately. I did not prime that man. I'll admit it.
Didn't even know this guy existed.
I didn't.
Poor little Tau pilot.
It was hilarious when you opened it up because I'm like, wow.
Poor little battlesuit guy. Like, I'm meaningless.
Now I was thinking, this is kind of precursor. Friday, if you're all unaware, we'll be having our April challenge review, all about the base. So make sure you tune into the second part of stream on Friday. If you have a submission or you just want to come hang out.
Awesome.
I've been thinking about the next challenge, Jason.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I want to do a limited color palette.
Okay.
But I want to remember, like, you'll have to remind me of the hard and fast old rules of the color palette. How did you all pick those? We haven't done one in a while.
I mean, there's been some where we've had chat call out numbers and we just grab the number from the line of what that would be.
Okay.
There's times where we've just randomly closed our eyes and pulled. There's times where we've thought about color palettes for seasonal or for other reasons that would look a certain way and done that. So there's any number of ways we can do a limited color palette.
Synthwave.
No.
We're not doing synth. That's fun.
I am not a trend humper.
Trend humper. Funny you horns is gray. What color should I use to bring the tone up? For bone.
And Mateo, when you say bring the tone up, what do you mean, to highlight it? The ivories work great into the bone. Layer and highlight. Ivories work great with bone. Bone is a little, like you mentioned, bone is a little bit more of a grayer tone, right? Trending a little bit more brown. But, you can go bone, dark ivory, and the ivories give you a really great, ability to work in that range.
Maybe that's the limited color palette.
So,
no.
Might as well make them paint with black and white.
Do we have to add a black and white?
No, I mean, we've done challenges where it's just one color. We did like the blue challenge. I think we've done. Right. I think we've done a couple others where you can only use, one color plus black and white. Do a derby thing in honor of the Kentucky Derby. Is it the Kentucky Derby?
No. I like the three colors only idea. I like that. Like, is that enough?
We've chosen random amounts of colors. Generally, you'll have black and white plus a handful of others, like 3 colors plus black and white. You need black and white to be able to shade and tint your colors. Right. So we allow black, white, and then generally a range of other colors. So, I mean, we could strip black and white out of it and not let you use those. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys discuss it. I'm painting.
Kruger, I don't think we have any plans to paint any of the Inner Predator minis.
I painted some. I didn't have a big blast with them. We had a viewer that provided us with some alien models a long time ago that we did as part of a commission for him. Yeah. And they were okay. They're not very unique, right? The movies are great. The models, not so interesting. It's weird. I was not as impressed with painting like, an alien. The most fun I've had doing anything from the Alien franchise was the chibi version of Ripley and the Alien Queen. That was rad. I still have that diorama someplace around the office here.
Panic Bomb, 21 months. Thank you for that sub.
Thank you, Panic.
Papa Chicken has a question. I'm trying to make a terracotta/reddish color equivalent to black brown or black green. Everything I'm getting is too desaturated. Any tips?
Terracotta equivalent to black brown or black green, meaning you just want a very dark color?
Yeah, that one's...
Why not mahogany?
That's the answer, is mahogany.
I mean, terracotta is more of a brownish, reddish, orange kind of color, but it's like khaki. It can be a lot of different things depending on who you're talking to and what their view of it is. So, it it can take on many forms. But remember that your shadow color doesn't have to be that color. It just has to be a dark color that works well with it, if that makes sense. If that's what you're talking about. When you say black, brown, or black, green, that makes me think that what you're looking for is a shade for terracotta. And if I were going to do a shade for terracotta, I would use mahogany. It takes care of the brown and the red, and then the orangishness of terracotta, or the pinkish orangishness of terracotta as you work up to that color, fits in very well with it. That's probably where I would start.
What about a skin check? Okay, maybe. Mike's Mo says, Jason, I remember that DO2. Also remember a certain DO with a tank girl and kangaroos that still needs love still.
Yep. I still have all the bits for that. Remember, I was doing an homage series for Tank Girl, was the goal. And I have lots of models. It was a very large undertaking. The only one we did was the Machine and Krieger model with Tank Girl standing in the cockpit of it. I have a lot of models. We have the, oh gosh, I'm not going to remember the anime that the Scope Dog comes from, but I have a Scope Dog model.
Dog, okay.
That opens up, and we had another one that was going to be Tank Girl, or one of her compatriots, doing the welding and fixing the Scope Dog model. So I took a lot of mecha style models to introduce into like the Tank Girl world, was the idea. So I've got, like, you know, instead of tanks, you would have like a Battletech Tank Girl who was in a Scope Dog. I've got the Breagle from Calamity, Luca Zampriolo. Got one of the very few Breagle sniper models that he made. And that one is along with I believe a Scorpion armored fighting vehicle. That I was going to do.
That sounds like a big project.
It's a Spanish tank, for lack of a better term, that that has a whole bunch of really cool garage resin tank women that would be Tank Girl and her whole crew, but sitting on this Scorpion wheeled tank.
Wow, that sounds like an involved project.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. So it'll never see the light of day.
Rancid Vomit, 57 months. Thank you so much.
Rancid, what's going on, buddy?
And Canopy's got a great question. I would like to ask, what colors do I use from Pro Acryl range to paint Ultramarines? Thank you very much. Great question.
Yeah. I like Ultramarines done with something like dark blue or dark purple base, and then moving them through to just our blues, and sky blue looks really well. As a matter of fact, let me go grab all those. We always get questions about this, and they're all sitting on a shelf in here. Yeah.
You know where they're at?
Yeah.
Oh, chat.
Hot. Dude.
It always happens. It always happens, chat. I'm left here to my own demise, thinking my thoughts. Here with you quietly. He's grabbing his models, grabbing life by the, well, you know. I can't say. I don't want to be banned from Twitch. Just know, doing pretty dang good. And I hope you are too. It is Tuesday at 2:29 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Mountain Standard Time is not an oil company. It is a standard unit of measurement of time here in the United States of America. And yeah, Mountain Standard is now my middle name, Christopher Mountain Standard Masucci. And welcome back to the stage, Jason Craze. Oh boy. Anyway, welcome back. We were just talking about
Nonsense.
stuff.
Nonsense, I'm
Got 'em.
sure.
No, I'm good. Adult, I am an adult. Never touch anything on Jason's desk. Ever.
That little...
They're like, take a brush and hide it. No, Gandalf. No. I love these your versions of all your Ultramarines, those colors you did.
Brought lots of models.
Heck yeah. Load it
I
up.
brought all the Marines we did, because we did like a chapter a week a long time ago when the Indominus box came out. So this was used. There are some really good methodologies up, and there's a really good methodology up for the Ultramarine. As a matter of fact, it's just in picture form.
Yeah.
But it calls out every color I use on this. And so this is dark purple as a base, then into, I might have used dark gray blue into sky blue. The dark gray blue can be a good base coat, right? Into blue and sky blue, right? And then nowadays I would use white blue as a highlight. We didn't have white blue as a color when I did this guy, but I would use white blue. And it works great. It gives you really good coloring.
It's very classic feeling.
Yeah.
But I like that work.
Yeah, it looks really good.
The gold really, I really like the gold on that blue.
The gold I did all with dark golden brown, and olive flesh. Right. So that it's, again, a little cooler, not quite as warm, no oranges or anything like that. I think that offsets the blue really nicely. And then I did the traditional red skin on the bolter and chainsword. There you go. And I did Primaris Beakies, because why wouldn't you? There you go.
And it says, a while back, Jason did a great summary of the flow for the flesh paints you have from dark to light for various flesh types. How would the new peach flesh fit into that?
Good highlight. It's something that can go over everything from tan flesh to advanced flesh tone, because it has a little bit more of a yellowish nature to it. But it's more pinkish than the warm flesh colors. So again, kind of that high mid-tone highlight color. It's fantastic for mixing it in to the other darker skin tones. Works great.
What's the recipe on that gun?
What gun?
What did you talk about? The one and only. You're talking about that gun? Yeah, which gun? Maybe that gun.
This is probably mahogany, burnt red, pyro red, if I had to guess. It's been a long time. Mahogany, burnt red, pyro red, pale pink as a final highlight.
Yep. Okay, that is the gun you're talking about. Okay.
Feels right.
Yep. Papa Chicken says, is it just me, or does the color blue have a very narrow range of color before it becomes a shade or green or a shade of purple?
Narrow range of color.
Think so.
No. I mean, cyan being one of the principal colors, you think of it as just true blue, and then as you put any yellowish tones into it, it starts to green out. And as you put any red, it starts getting purple, but there's a lot in between that.
What about a non-metallic metal challenge? Nah.
You've done that recently.
We have done that recently. I'm liking the vibe of the limited color palette. I don't remember the last time we did that. It's been a minute. Boo-ray. Do non-metallic gold. Hey, it's the year of non-metallic gold. Are you doing each color in transition, or doing a color and mixing the next color with the previous color, or doing the next color alone?
Depends. I paint both ways. Generally, what I do is a mix as I add colors, so that I'm using fewer overall colors. So I can pick a range of 3 colors, a dark, a medium, and a highlight. And then it really turns into, 5, 6, 7 colors, because you'll use the base, then you'll do the base with the mid-tone, then the mid-tone, then the mid-tone with the highlight, then the highlight. And so you can start getting a lot more coloring out of that than you would normally see. That's one way to do it. You could also just go, if you have a nice smooth color transition where those colors are almost mixed, you could add more bottles of color into that, so you don't have to worry about mixing. You're doing the same thing. You're just either getting it straight from the bottle or playing around and mixing on the palette, because I use colors that are typically not in the same hue family. Like I start with green, and then move through to yellows. Maybe I go through oranges. Can you pop in closer on this guy? So this guy starts with dark yellow green, right? And then into yellow green, and then into yellow ochre, and then pale yellow. So there's a lot more mixing in between colors or glazing over. The first layer of each color might go on very thin so that it gives you a visual blend with the color beneath it. But that's generally the way that I attack it. Because I'm not just using like a dark yellow, mid-tone yellow, bright yellow, right? I'm using like a brown or a green or a purple or a magenta as a base. And so you need to mix that. You can't just go over the top of it normally. You can, it'll give you a much more painterly feel. It won't be as blended. And if that's your style, then that works great. For me, I like to have the coloring be blended, and then I use the brush stroke as my texture.
Can you do layer, non-metallic mellow, can you do layering, no blending? If so, does the layer have to be extra thin?
Well, I mean, you can do stuff like this, which is no blending at all and gives non-metallic feel. This is cartoony style, right? So this makes you, the ability to do non-metallic with 0 blends. There's no blends on this whole model. But that's a specific, cell shaded style way of doing things. But it shows that you can do it. Now, if you want to see less visual lines between the colors, right? Because this is all strategic placement of color to give the sense of reflections and such. So you've got to be a little bit more trained on where dark and light reflection would go on your model. If you're just saying, do you layer to blend, then yeah, and you do thinner layers. Like that's what this is. This is just each layer done thin and then opaque. And then the next color goes on thin and then opaque. I'm not really blending colors on the palette necessarily. Just depends on how fast I'm doing it and what my feeling at the time is. But yeah, that's all this is. I mean, that's if you watch the video where we did the non-metallic gold on Antonio LT Gray, that's all this was. And I talk about that in the video.
Yeah.
There's no blended colors on this. This is, the dark yellow green, burnt orange or orange oxide, I think I used. Was it Payne's Gray that I went back over it with? There's all sorts of coloring to this, but none of them are done as mixes. They're just taking the color and then doing a coat very thin to get the initial blend with the layer beneath it, and then more opaque. I dread saying thick, but more opaque for the next pass to give it vibrancy on whatever color it is, right? So if you watch the video on this, it'll show you a really good way to achieve that.
That video. Killjoy's asking, just my eyes are a yellow ochre and golden brown, the same?
Not the same color. It is just your eyes. They are different. Golden brown is a tad lighter.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And not as yellow.
Derp stick.
A little bit more desaturated.
Yep, that's
Can you use them in tandem? Yeah. You could highlight yellow ochre with golden brown and then go into bright yellow ochre. Yellow. Bright yellow ochre. Again, the yellow ochre and the bright yellow ochre you can see adhere more to a yellowishness, where this you can really see the brown or the orangey nature of golden brown when you put it next to both.
Derpstick has another question about the non-metallic metal on the Ultramarine. For the darker parts, do you leave the dark golden brown and go straight to olive flesh for the corner shine?
Yeah.
On the shoulder pad?
Mm-hmm. Generally. I'll probably do the edges first with the mid-tone color.
Ooh, silver plate bum. Silver plated bum. That's great. I'm painting a blue dragon. Any tips for painting the membrane on the wings? What color? Blue?
Yeah, I guess I
Is
would
the
have to know
membrane
what
blue?
you want to have it look like. Does it want to be blue webbing, or do you want it to be more fleshy? With dragons, you have such an open world of how you can treat them from their coloring, right? Like I can envision a red dragon having more fleshy coloring for the webbing. Could be really neat. But again, that's just up to you. If you're wanting to keep it in hues of blue, then I would need to know, like, what are you doing the scale portion of it in, right? Because if you're doing your dragon with, say, like purple undertones, then maybe you move to less purple on the webbing, so it feels like it's, you know, completely different.
Hannibal is suggesting a couple different things for the challenge. The parents plus black and white. Be very interesting.
Just all the transparents?
All the transparents plus black and white.
I mean, the transparents give you CMYK, so that would be basically a CMYK challenge, right? Because you have the red transparent, the
Well,
blue.
you'd have a,
The blue's darker than a cyan, but has the same effect. And then yellow. So you could do something like that. I don't like CMYK challenges because I can't enforce them. You're at a point where if you can blend any color, how do I know you blended it and didn't just paint with that color off your shelf?
That's a good.
So we try to do limited palette challenges that are teaching you not how to mix any color from CMYK, because that, while being a great thing, I can't enforce it. I try to use the limited palette challenges to show you ways to step outside your comfort zone to bring material focus, so that I can tell what's leather and what's, you know, skin and what's steel from a very limited color set, where you might normally use a particular color to represent steel. If you can't use that color, how do you do it? How do you make me realize it's steel? How do you make me realize that, you know, it's Caucasian flesh, but you only have red to paint with, kind of a thing?
The other option, 4 colors of dark purple, orange, red, jade, or ivory. Ideas. It's the challenge is more about the properties. There's lots of ideas out there, chat. Have to stew on it. But this is Morgul's got 99% of the videos on the will use black primer as a base. What would be the different colored primers for that?
To give you a head start, where black is not the color you want the model to be, right? I use the black brown a lot.
Jason's going to use that dark purple one a lot when it comes out.
Yeah, when we release dark purple, I think a lot of people use that for like flesh tone models, things like that. There's a lot of reasons why you might use a colored primer, right? The whole ColorForge primer line gives you the ability to get a quicker start on whatever the color of the model is that you're painting. We use the the black brown for the tank that we did recently, because it is the color of the dirt in between the green panels. So if I do it with the brown as a base, then if you look at the video where I teach you how to do the panel highlighting for armor like this, then the brown is actually visible. That brown primer is what looks like the weathered dirt on here, right? So it has an effect. I'm using it as a paint as well as a primer layer. So by filtering, I get that brown to give me a pre-weathered effect that makes it speed up tremendously. This is literally just some airbrush and some dry brush that gets you to this, right? And then we went ahead on the video and weathered a lot more with noosh and drips and grime and things like that, but chipping and all those effects. But it gets you to a good point a lot quicker when you use a colored primer for certain models. Now, you're talking to a guy that I use black primer for everything, except when I'm doing those types of models, military models, which you could say is everything we do, technically. But like for this Tau battlesuit, Black gives me a really good shadow layer. It's the darkest color, so it allows me to start with a base coat that all my shadows are baked in. That's why we do that. Makes overall your painting so much easier.
Sammy says, "Give me the dark purple." Sorry, I got excited. That's going to be a very used primer, I believe.
Of course, we only sell new products here. New products. We don't sell used products.
Wait a minute. What? Used? Oh.
And when we do, we call it pre-owned.
Okay.
It's pre-owned.
All right.
Pre-owned,
everybody.
Christopher. We don't want to make them feel like there's less value in it.
Oh. What primer should I use if I'm going to paint yellow and gold?
I like the black brown.
Black brown?
Black brown is a great shadow color for yellows. Like, also, very dark. You just want to make sure you're using a dark primer so that it feels like a shadow color. The whole point being that you don't want to go back and have to paint the underarm,
Yeah.
And so if it's already dark, then you speed up your painting process by not having to go back and do those areas.
The workup, what was the workup for your non-metallic gold on the Chibi Thanos? Those colors.
Black, brown, black, brown, dark golden brown, yellow ochre, pale yellow, and bright pale. No, we didn't have bright pale yellow. Yellow ochre, golden brown, and pale yellow, I think. Again, that was one that didn't use any oranges, but used brown to keep everything in the yellow palette.
Berto has a question. I have a paint question. Why no fluorescent blue?
Doesn't fluoresce very well. And we didn't really do the fluorescent line so that it would, glow under UV. That's a natural occurrence with those paints. We wanted them to be ultra bright paints for things like OSL and lighting effects. And the blue just isn't a very bright color. It's very dull until you put it under UV. So it didn't give me what we were looking for. So our transparent blue and sky blue work a lot better already, especially when you put them over white or transparent white for effects. We tried it. I wasn't happy with it, so I didn't release it. Kind of weird like that. If mom ain't, if what is it? Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. I'm mama in that situation. I'm in Big Mama's house.
Kruger saying a team of scientists claim to have discovered a new color that no human has ever seen. See that color? Looks like green to me. What's the name? What'd they name it? I have not heard this.
Is it a wavelength of light? There's a difference, right?
I have not heard this. Mo's saying, Jason, since you were thinking of new colors the other day, can we get some more bright type colors?
What?
Bright type colors.
Bright?
Bright? In like bright everything color?
What do you think we need that's bright?
Bright wizard's butt. There you go. Jason is the hottest mom on the Monument Hobby stream today.
Heck yeah, baby.
Okay. All right, everybody,
Heck
calm
yeah,
down. Everybody calm down.
Heck yeah, baby.
Like a bright orange, says Mo.
What is... Wait a minute. What the hell brighter orange do you want than orange?
I want a bright orange, says Mo. And I want it now. Give me that bright orange. Well, anything that doesn't have a bright on it yet. That's a good point, Mo. Bright orange. I said it. Oh my gosh. Hot single fuses are in your area. All right, calm down, chat. Cool off. Cool off, chat.
Cool off.
Nova Orange, isn't Nova Orange pretty bright?
Nova Orange is actually fairly desaturated.
It's
kind of a peachy orange.
Danger Muffin, thank you for that sub. Appreciate it.
It
Welcome.
is a higher value color. So, I guess the conversation is, what are we talking about when we say bright? If we have like pale yellow, right? It's very desaturated yellow that approaches white in its value. And if what you're saying is you want like that kind of a color that's like a sherbet orange, right? Then we could look at something like that.
Danby says Nova Orange is like pumpkin.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like the inside of a pumpkin. I would go with that. I would go with that. I would agree there.
Pale yellow as bright pale. Oh, you're just looking for all the brights, aren't you? Here, dude, this is a ghost key. Now. Okay, so Zambi showed off her wizard's butt. Okay, I did. I was painting Nav on stream today. What? What? Zambies. Check it out. Nice. Color wizard's butt do you have, Zambies?
The thing, you can't always just say I used wizard's butt.
Zambi says I have 3 wizard's butts. Ooh, did you use all of them?
Only 3?
Oh, how many are there? 4?
4. 4 that we've let people know about.
Oh, I have none, says Cannibal. What? Cannibal, you don't have any? What are you talking about? Sammy's has purple, red, and green. Denava's base in the purple one. Wow.
No yellow.
That's cool. You don't have the yellow.
No yellow.
I don't even have the yellow.
The inaugural wizard's butt. The inaugural butt. Yellow. Kind of a banana yellow. Greenish.
Dusty Hobby says, how much do I need to bribe Gabe to bring some wizard's butt to UKG? A lot.
He was a pretty nice guy. You might be able to swing it.
Take it easy.
Take what easy?
Take it easy.
Don't talk good about Gabe.
Whoa.
Is that what you're saying?
That was way too quick on your part. I'm losing my breath.
It was way too quick for me to what? Say that Gabe is a nice guy?
Oh, whoa. Okay. Take it easy, all right?
I feel like Gabe's a pretty nice guy.
Oh, take it easy. Oh, my. Heart can't take that 3 times in a row. He's all right.
He was a pretty nice guy.
Single color range challenge for May. All the same color in different hues. We pick one color and then black and white. I feel like we've done that recently, actually.
Did we?
Did we? Question. If you all are not aware, the April challenge is coming in at great.
We've done some pretty fun single color challenges where the whole T. Schmidt yellow came from.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where we asked, for a big monster to be painted in yellow, and T. Schmidt painted his in bright yellow green. And everybody, when they looked at it, they were like, "That's not yellow, that's green." And so we all said it's T. Schmidt yellow. And so he has that big cup that he goes around with the bright yellow green sticker on it, and that's why.
I see. I now understand. November challenge monochrome. Okay.
Yeah, doing
November seems like an eternity. That's just me. Everybody says
fair.
Time is flying, but I don't think so.
Not as much.
Not as much. Time is not flying.
I feel like time flies. It's already nearly like we're coming up on the halfway point of 2025. That seems ridiculous.
Seems like it's been an
just because he's had to spend it here. That's what he's saying.
Oh, no,
that's what he's saying,
not
chat.
at all.
What he's saying, chat.
The days are long when you appreciate them. Says I, the man behind the microphone. Don't talk about Gabe Dusty Hobbies like he's no more. The Gabe show's canceled. You heard it here, folks. Where did the time go? West. Spaznet, that's funnier than it should be. And I don't know why. Where did time go? West. That's dumb and silly. I like it. Bud says time's flying unless you're waiting on the brush set. Hey, Bud.
Wow, Bud.
Wow.
Really?
Bud.
From you, I expect better.
Bud.
From you, I expect better.
Monument Hobby says, Mo, how can time be going slow when you're always late? Wow. What is chat's on one today?
We arrived right when we need to. Right after I handled broken down forklifts, which I did not handle. I just kind of passed the buck.
Like, well,
they tried to pass the buck to me. So
like,
technically,
you're like, I got a show to do.
Yeah, I was like, I got shit to do. Can't be hanging out with you people. I can't be seen with you people. I got stuff to do. I'm a VIP.
Papa Chicken says, if I wanted to make my own paint, mixing my own custom pigments or something, how might I go about experiencing that? Oh, not experience. Experimenting and learning. Making my own paint.
So there's only a few questions I won't answer, and that's one of them.
We don't want you to be a competitor, Papa Chicken.
Yeah, that's one of those that is commercial in nature and really difficult. It's not something that we can just tell you here, right? Because I have to expose recipes and components that are not readily known necessarily. That one's tough. If you just want to make your own colors,
that's different.
Then you can get, like artist acrylics and airbrush medium or liquid medium of some sort of varnish, like a matte varnish, and you can make your own colors and turn them into liquid colors from, off the shelf paints already.
I hadn't thought about that perspective, said Papa Chicken. Sorry, I was just wondering.
No, don't have to apologize. No. Don't feel bad about it at all. That's just one of those where, now you're talking about that kind of deal where that information, unfortunately, is just not plentiful.
Well, and after that, he was saying, I was just wanting to try to color match my car and add color shift to it. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have to give it a.
I mean, like I said, go get some mediums, and if you're trying to you're trying to color match your car to paint a model, or color match your car
To like fix the paint on the car.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Help me understand that. Because there's lots of services where you can just go get like PPG color match paint, right? If you're trying to do automotive color. But if you're trying to paint like a 3D print of your car and want to make an acrylic like that, or what are you trying to do? Help me understand. Because I definitely want to help you. I'm just not going to teach you how to make paint.
Help us help you.
I'm not going to teach you how to make paint.
I'm trying to paint a Hot Wheel to test.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Track car. Okay.
I mean, yeah, the easiest way is, operating with a little bit of color theory. Get yourself like a processed cyan, magenta, yellow, mix the color up, right? Because if you do that from like our heavy bodied acrylics that are coming out, that's about as close as you're going to get to base pigment. But all of the other products you need, like the acrylic, to get it to have an adhesive format, and that it is going to cure and become a layer of plastic, protective coat, which is really what the paint is. There's a lot more to it than just pigment. Right.
Ghost Hunter, if I go to World HQ, can I mix my own paint? The World's HQ? I don't know. I don't know how you're going to get into World HQ. Now, if you're talking about Monument HQ, you will be greeted at the door with slings and arrows.
We're actually nicer than that.
That's true.
Unless it's Chris's data man front.
No one allowed in.
Tried to be fairly nice. No, we don't really we don't have that feature. You can't come here and like make your own paint. We did back in the day before we had 100 more plus colors. Think about, what would be cool is if we could do, some made to order stuff like that. Like when Miniac came by, we let him create his own color.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't bottle it for him, but we let him create it. Show him how we create color versus, how our competition does it. And I think he got a kick out of that. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do at Home Depot, right? Get yourself a color scanner. They make them cheap now. They have like iPhone apps. Hell, you can take a picture from an iPhone and have it create the hex code for you. Take that to Home Depot and have them make you the latex paint. If you want to do it that way. If you're doing for color test, that's a great way to do it. They can make you, I don't know how small they can make it in small amounts. You probably don't need a gallon of whatever color it is you're trying to make.
Yeah.
You can do that, and then they'll make you a colored paint right there, and it'll be latex, but you can still paint it on like a Hot Wheels car for testing.
Here's a question. A couple weeks ago, you were showing how to do oil slick / pearlescent, but couldn't finish due to the stream running out. Are there any steps after the colors putting black over it?
Yeah, transparent black over that beetle shell thing I was doing. We never went back and redid that, Chris. But yeah, that was the goal, is that you would go back with a transparent black filter over the top.
I thought, okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember back to like what that was. The idea was to put black over that. Okay.
Yeah, because we created the iridescent colors of like the oil spill look on the Batwing. I forget which one of these.
Over there?
Yeah, here it is. Right, like that. So we were creating kind of that oil slick look,
and
then we would.
Did.
No,
Maybe not.
We didn't. It was still wet, so we didn't do that. We did some highlight on it, and then we would need to put the black transparent back over the top.
I think we are going to come up with a limited palette, and I like the blindfold idea. Jason picking off his rack.
That's cool. Yeah.
I like, or you just picking a color.
Yeah.
And those are the colors. And if we need a dark color, we do that dark color.
Yeah, we can do that.
Make the ultimate paint set 6 bottles of pale pink. About that one.
Nothing you can't do with pale pink.
Cannibal saying we want to exclude black and white. Chat has spoken.
No black, no white?
No black, no white?
All right.
Okay. See, I pay attention. How can you get an idea of how much paint to wick off your brush for a simple layering like you're doing now? Yeah. Some palette video.
Yeah, I think that it's a thing of feel, and I hate that it's just a feel thing, but you know, I load it up because I'm mixing on the palette, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll just come over here so I know that I can pull a tight line. A lot of times what you can do is test and see, can I get a nice thin line going? This is a very bright color, so it's hard to see. But if the answer is yes, then for this kind of detailing that I'm doing, it's generally okay.
Gotcha.
If when I draw it across my thumb, it's still thick and releasing way too much paint, then I'm probably going to need to wick a little bit more off of it because I'm not trying to glom
A little bit more
paint on the surface.
Got it.
Right. But, you know, a couple times you'll get there and it'll just be too much that you've taken off, and then your brush won't release any. So you do have to be a little careful as you go through and do it.
Got it. Yeah, I think the color palette challenge will be random with no black and white.
Oh, boy, that's scary.
Yeah, good luck, chat. You wanted this.
We'll wait until we see the colors, chat.
Yeah, because if we...
It needs to teach you something and not just that we're mean.
Drive you nuts.
Yeah, it needs to not just teach you that Monument Hobbies is horrible human beings. Because that could very well be what that does.
It's a fun concept. I like that concept. So maybe we get something that's close to black and close to white.
Well, we'd have to. You
Like
can't
darker?
blind pick a dark color because I don't know. I could wind up with. We've done this before where I don't think we've ever just gone straight with the blind picks because you're like, you look at them and you're like, I'm not going to do that, T-Chat.
Yeah.
So we'd have to just take a look. But yeah, we can do that. We can do kind of grab bag style.
I like, okay, maybe we pick our dark and our light color, and then we grab bag 2 colors.
I like that, yeah. Pick our shade and our tint.
Yep, we
And
pick
then-
that are not black and white, and then we randomly pick 2 more colors for a 4-color challenge.
Okay, I like that.
That's it. I have
works.
spoken, chat.
That works.
We have spoken. We, the people, have spoken. Rogue Hobby set plus dark purple and blue white. I feel like you could do a lot with that, Awkwardish.
Hey, you know something really fun?
What's that?
The Rogue Hobby set was nominated for Best Product of the Year. Best hobby product of 2025. How about them apples?
Interesting. I don't.
Which is kind of funny since it was released last year, but don't tell them that.
Hey. No, Flapjack, you may not pitch a 5th color for the 5th month. No, false. Vetoed.
Vetoed.
Cannibal says, not this next month, but next month do a style challenge, and my vote is synthwave. Cannibal, no, don't encourage this. No synthwaves. And yes, that's very fun about Rogue Hobby set. That's going to be very fun. I've spoken, but Mo, I've spoken. 4-color challenge. 2 picked, 2 random. Everybody wants synthwave.
They're just trying to see my head explode. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
This is what
I
chat
have to
does,
keep Jason healthy.
Chris.
So
This is
I'm
what
so
chat
sorry.
does.
We're not doing that for out of no fun. We're doing that so that Jason doesn't get a headache.
I had to take Advil before I came on stream today.
Oh no, that's not good.
I
Yeah,
never take
now-
drugs. I had to take some Advil. I have a headache.
Now he's got to do it. I got to
I
back
was being
it up.
preemptive.
Yeah, he's taking drugs to deal with chat. Oh. Derpstick says, for the gold, you did on LT Gray. Replace dark purple with Payne's Gray as one shadow color.
Sure. I think we used the dark purple instead of the Payne's gray because the black armor was done with Payne's gray. Right? I feel like that's the reason.
Yeah, we can think about that sometimes, Lumberjack. We've had so many challenges that the double dipping of challenges of years past could also be.
We've done a ton.
Yeah. So I think we are getting to that point where sometimes you can double dip, but I do like the grab bag idea. I think that's fun. And we will have to stew on the synthwave. Maybe if I catch Jason in a light of, beautiful aurora of light and health and goodness, maybe he'll say yes to synthwave. I don't know. Synthwave. Why synthwave? God, I need 15 good reasons.
No. You're not going to be able to give them to you.
Because
they don't even know.
The colors.
They don't even know.
Little Billy, when will we be picking the colors? Maybe today. Maybe Friday.
No, we don't pick colors today. It isn't the end of the month.
That's true.
We are not preemptive.
We're
nothing if not late with these things.
No, we will be. Why not synthwave? No synthwave.
It's a horrible look.
What? You don't like synthwave?
Oh my god, dude.
Oh no.
It totally just chaps me.
It chaps you.
So horrible.
We'll be picking the colors on May 1st. Chat. That is Thursday for the late person.
I think that Kenny's been doing like synthwave Night Lords, maybe.
Oh. Gets people out of their comfort zone to do synthwaves, says Campbell. That's okay. What happens if Jason picks synthwave randomly out of the grab bag? That's fate.
Could happen.
E-Town, here's a question. I watched your video on troll skin from a few years ago. That video, you went from purple to dark magenta as a base coat into your dark skin tones and highlighted with peachy skin tones.
Mm-hmm.
For Caucasian skin tone as a whole. If you were doing more yellow-green skin tone, what progression would you use for colors? Would you use instead?
Like for orcs?
For a greenish, more yellow-green skin tone for a troll.
I mean, because we underpainted that guy, remember the one we're talking about, we could do the same thing with flesh tones, and then you could do like yellow-green over the top. That looks really cool, right? So paint it like a human, which is really discomforting when you look at it. And then, like do whatever light or dark skin you want in general kind of peachy, human, Caucasian-y, Middle Eastern, South American skin tones. And then over the top of that, drop your green filter. That works really well. Looks really cool. Gives life to the skin.
I'm palette enthusiast. What kinds of color No, so I would say don't use color. You can't use color primer for the challenge. Black or white.
One of the colors, you can't use it.
Black or can you use black or white primer?
Yeah, black and white primer. Okay. You can use either one. And on some of those things, we just have to go with the spirit of the event as to you guys following the rules, because it's not easy to tell what people have done. But the idea of these is, not to churn out the best, most amazing paint job necessarily. It's to push yourself into avenues where you wouldn't normally think about color in the way that you're having to during the challenge. So as long as you're holding true to that, and pushing yourself and realizing that, oh my gosh, this is tough, and not feeling like you gotta cheat the system to get it right.
Source Sorry, I've asked this before, but for magenta wash, what ratio of medium to paint butter? You have a magenta wash, or really good. Yeah, throw
to
it out
create your
there.
own?
Yeah. What's the ratio?
I like starting like 10 to 1, I think I tell you all the time, right? 10 to 1 with the medium, the glaze wash medium to paint is a great place to start. And then when you get done adding the medium, you go back and you add about that much again water. You double the mixture with water and then test your opacity and see if you like it. It may be too thin, at which point in time you can add more paint or layer up the wash a couple times, depends on how you want to do it.
And like I said, Source, you're going to love our magenta wash if you don't have it. Just saying. It's out there. Goatlorzad says, thank you for the Blood Angels color scheme tips on Friday. I'm back again for your pro acryl process for aged bone bits. Parchment of purity seals, also the stone of crux, etc. So, aged bone bits.
Believe it or not, I like starting them off with like black brown into burnt orange or orange oxide. It gives that, excavated out of the earth feel by having that orange kind of warmth to the bone. And then over the top of that, you start adding like, khaki, bone, and then ivory as a highlight. It really is all going to be what your base color is that sells it.
Source says, I can't have your magenta wash yet. Eat you.
I think they have it at Element Games.
Yeah,
I think PK Pro has it.
Yeah. Source, double check.
But check. They may not.
Yeah, it is a really dope
And
wash.
Element might not be the best example because I don't know how they're shipping to the EU. Yeah, all the distributors have got orders that I think have all gone. I would have to check with Jacob to figure that out. If PK has placed their order number 1, they're not always the quickest. But I'm pretty sure I remember PK having their order and kind of right off the gate. They were really good with this.
PK Pro didn't have it a few days ago. Okay. Might be getting a reorder.
Did they have it listed on the site and it was just showing out of stock, or did they not even have it listed on the site? Would be my.
Does khaki color lean a little green? My eyes aren't great.
Yep.
I love that color.
Yep. A little bit of kind of yellowish green, or greenish yellow would be the way to say that. It's a neat color, but it is kind of odd. It was one that took me a long time to get the way I liked it. Either too tan and bland, and I wanted it to do more than just be a tan.
Oh, it's type of not in stock. Okay.
Does it say pre-order? I would contact them and see.
Yeah.
Just in case. God, Tau battles.
You do have a lot of doohickeys.
I can't argue. They all make sense. They're like gears and
Brannigan's brushes.
Gears and stuff.
52 party rating.
What's going on, Brannigan?
Brannigan. Welcome in, Raiders.
Hello. How we doing, gang?
Thank you so much for that raid, Brannigan. We appreciate it. If y'all haven't been on Brannigan's stream, definitely give him a follow. We are doing good over here. We are painting up a ghost keel, and chat's trying to convince us to do a synthwave challenge.
Hate it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I like. You guys can do it. I just won't judge it.
Oh no!
You guys will have to pick somebody else to look at that freaking Miami Vice nonsense.
Oh my gosh!
It really is that I have a thing against my hate Don Johnson.
Ghost Hunter said, "He said we can do it."
I hate Don Johnson with a passion. Melanie Griffith.
Oh, Synthwave Challenge. Also, Pro Curl Taste the Rainbow. False. Don't ruin it for them. Don't ruin the Synthwave. Here's what we'll do. We'll do a Synthwave Challenge, but I'll put like monochrome glasses on that take away all the color. How about that, chat?
Oh, that'd be great.
Actually, that would be kind of cool to do another challenge of if the judger had a...
You know what we should do is a value challenge where everybody has to paint their model.
Yeah.
And then the way we judge it is I turn it black and white.
Oh, like on the screen?
Yeah, I turn it black and white on the screen. We take their color photo and we'll turn it black and white, and we'll see how well we can read all the material and textures in black and white.
That actually would be a dope idea.
It's one of the best ways to work your values is to take a photo of your model during the process and see if it's reading correctly in black and white.
That would be a hard challenge, I feel like, right?
I mean, no, because they have the ability to take the picture along the way, right? They can just test it for themselves along the way. It's a great way to get your painting dialed in. To take a picture of your model, turn the picture black and white, and see if you can still see where all of your highlights and shadows and textures are supposed to be.
On that Beetle Shine, going back to that question, the Beetle Shine iridescent color, would you gloss varnish if you make it look?
Typically, no.
Or is that
I don't use gloss varnish on anything that isn't supposed to be wet. Because shiny is only as good as the lighting in the room, and the gloss varnish then makes all of your work that you've done to paint those colors almost non-existent, right? You got to be very careful.
If you go too shiny.
Well, gloss varnish is just not a paint color. It's allowing the light in the room to do the painting for you, and I wouldn't let the light in the room dictate what my painting looks like. Well, you don't want to use shiny paint hardly ever, right? Because all this work, like all this stuff I'm doing right now, these edges, putting highlights where I want them to shine on all of the individual shapes and stuff. If I put gloss varnish, all that's lost, like immediately lost. You would no longer have any of those bright areas where they go. And the better you are at placing your bright areas, the more it affects you, because if you put it exactly where it's supposed to go, guess what? That's where the gloss varnish shines and you can't see what you painted. So using gloss varnish for wet stuff, like we talk about using it for tears, using it as a way to show, like a lot of people have asked lately if they wanted to show something that had been in the rain, you can use gloss varnish for that. That effect next to the rest of your matte colors has a very visual storytelling aspect. I can tell very quickly that, oh, that's supposed to be something wet. And you're not worried about the color underneath. You're just worried about the fact that it has shine. But when doing anything else, you got to be very careful because you're trying to recreate light. And that's all your job is as a painter, is to recreate the feeling of light on this three-dimensional surface. So you just got to be careful.
Got it.
That make sense?
Yeah. So but matte varnish over gloss doesn't fix that, says B-Town.
I mean, the matte varnish over the gloss makes it where you shouldn't have ever done the gloss, right? Because it will matte it back out and fix it and let you see your color again, but you'll lose the gloss. And the question was whether or not you could put a gloss to make the beetle shell shine more? And the answer is definitely yes, but you would lose all of those underpainted colors because you would lose them to shine. What you're doing with those underpainted colors is showing how the light reflects, giving you those odd oil slick looking colors. So if you put the gloss varnish on it, you'll lose that effect. You'll just get brightness there. I'm not a fan of gloss varnish as a tool for creating shine on models, though, right? It's your job as a painter to place the highlights correctly to give it the level of shine, in air quotes, that you want. That's what I'm doing right now, right? Making these areas of the model have, you know, various levels of brightness so that it appears like shine on those shapes.
What about the metallic medium, says Danger?
Same thing. You could paint it with metallic medium and transparents and get that kind of effect out of colored paints, but they still reflect light and get very bright, right? So anytime you use, what have we done metallics on here recently? This guy.
Yeah.
Right? So like this guy, so, you know, you can use metallic paints on something like this guy's armor. Pop in close.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I've done washes to add a little bit of a brownish effect, but notice how as I turn the model, you can't tell where I put my highlights all the time. You can, because I put very bright colors in certain areas, but like if I turn it back here to the shadows, I can still get some brightness where I don't want it that can exaggerate or desaturate all the color that I've done. So same with the metallic stuff. Can you paint it that way? Sure. Yeah. If you didn't want to do the technique that I've done, I would not mix them. So I think that's part of the story. If you want to make like a iridescent kind of oil slick feel on black, like I did here, and I just took a bunch of transparent colors and smacked them together real quick at the end of stream one day. You know, you could do this with whatever colors you want. The way that you could do it, you could do all of these as metallic colors. Just realize that in a bright light, the bright light will be a shine and you'll see none of the color. You'll have to rotate it around to see the color because the light reflecting off of it, because it's so highly reflective as a metallic paint, will blow it out, you know? Whereas here, we've got this brightness that you see is all stuff we painted. There's a little bit of sheen to it, but not much. It's still very matte. And the only thing you see that's really bright is where we put bright color paint. And that's the way you want to work. And I think it should be everybody's goal as a painter to make sure that the brightness on your model is only, the brightness and darkness on your model are only where you specifically painted them. Don't let the room light affect it. Now, if you walk outside in the sun and it's completely glare high noon, then you might have problems, right? But inside a room, you should never have to worry about that. You should be able to hand your model to anybody in any room and have them see exactly the hard work you put into it, in my opinion.
Little Billy asking for a friend. Not as someone who's recently did this. Can I salvage a gloss varnished model by putting matte varnish over it?
Sure. Yeah, in most cases. I would use like our acetone spray to do that. You're going to need something that's heavily matte in as few layers as you possibly can get that you ditch it. But our airbrush, the way we test our airbrush matte varnish is that we gloss varnish the model, then we matte varnish the model and see how much of the shine it takes away. So yeah, you can definitely do that. I want transparent white. I want white blue. Anytime you walk outside and the sun is there, you have problems. Not just with your models. That's being a vampire wad. If your flesh starts burning, smoke, smell of sulfur, that's a you thing.
Is there any... Wait a second. Is there any reason to varnish a Mini? Says Zazin.
Yeah. If you're using paints that have various types of sheen to them, like you're using some satin, some gloss, some mattes, then a matte varnish at the end helps to even all that out, right? It will take away the shine on things like your metallic paints, though, so you have to be a little careful. If you use a lot of metallics, they become duller. It can make your colors seem a little flat because it takes shine off of them.
Okay. I do it. I use our varnish to protect it, like our rattle can varnish.
Yeah.
I you know, I don't know.
Yeah, heavier non-acrylic like our acetone varnish will give you a protective layer. Normal acrylic airbrush sprays won't do any kind of protection other than adding another layer of paint, right? Because they're not a heavy enough solvent to really make a difference. So what we're doing with the white blue is the deets and doots. Notice how I won't pull entire edges very often. I'll just go for shiny corners.
Papa Chicken. When I hold my models outside under natural light to get a better feel of my value contrast, I often see a very subtle rainbow kind of glitter effect. What is that? Is that the matte varnish finish reflecting the light? A little weird?
Don't know. I would have to see it to understand it. That seems weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Never seen that before, Papa Chicken.
They're going for that kind of gunmetal-y feel.
Oh, the deets and doots, chat. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Come to Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, you might be a unicorn, Papa Chicken. Maybe your eyes are just broken. Maybe. Hopefully not.
Is it every model you do or just some recent ones you did? Did you do any metallic on them?
Yeah.
It's funny to say this, but if you rinse your brush in your brush cup and then you continue painting, you're going to get that metal flake that floats around in your brush cup is going to be in all of your other colors that you might not notice until you take it outside and you get that glitter effect really happening.
You're like, what is this?
So that could be a thing. Remember, chat, we're doing this super quick because there's so much on here. So this is very what I call wish.com non-metallic metal. This is a couple of layers of color and then one bright highlight.
Dealer of Death. 101 months.
Death, what is going on? Good to see you.
101 of fun, and yes, I'm a big liar. Wow, that is a huge amount of time. An OG.
Dealer is the OGest of OGs.
We appreciate that. And when I mean we the people.
Dealer, I'm very sorry. Dealer, you've been here long enough to see multiple iterations of craziness.
You know what?
So don't hold this one against us.
You've seen a lot of different versions of Stream.
I will. One thing, can you pop in real close?
Sure.
One thing to say that I don't probably mention a lot is when I'm doing edge highlighting, let's just take this top edge on this backpack piece, right? I will pull a thin line, equal pressure all along the surface, right, to get the initial line done. But then when I want it to thicken up at this end, right, I'm always pulling my line this way because that'll help drop more pigment at the end. I've discussed that a lot of times. So you start light here and then you press more, but you might want to actually do a little bit of flick just at the end that kind of thickens that edge up, right? So see, you get that kind of comet tail feel.
Yeah.
Just more pressure. And sometimes you can do that by just going along the edge and just kind of flicking at the end. You'll deliver a lot more paint at the end and have a thin blend. It's something that you can do to really quick just kind of get that blended edge done. I don't know if we really ever talk about that. The pressure of the brush will deliver more paint the harder you press. And in a lot of circumstances, that's very valuable on edge detailing, especially.
Just a flick of the wrist, yes. Look at the wrist. Needed to say it, chat.
What'd you say?
Look at the wrist.
You can pop back out.
Boing. Speaking of card games, when do we get the gin? The card game, Chris. What are you talking about? Talking about our model? What are you talking about? We have Kamar gin. Model? Be more clear for me. Oh, done. No, I understand. Thank you. Potentially.
What's that?
When can we get the dunge? What are you? The D and I don't know. Talking about
We're having to think about tariffs with that right now, to be honest with you.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm connecting something. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Right
okay,
now,
we're
that's
talking
a
about our
tariff
games.
question.
Sorry,
right?
I'm totally just brain.
We have a meeting, I think, tomorrow morning with a domestic printer to see if we can't work with them to do the cards. That's that whole gaming manufacturing.
Yes.
Is in the dumps right now. We've had a lot of companies close down over the last week because of tariffs. And so I think I'm on a podcast tomorrow, as a matter of fact, talking about tariffs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There's a lot of people asking us, right? Because we're one of the few American companies that manufactures in the States for a lot of what we do. And so a lot of people are turning to us saying, hey, how do you maintain this? How are tariffs affecting you? Blah, 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 blah.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. For a second, I'm like, what are we talking about, T. Schmidt?
He never knows.
We never know. Panic bomb. As someone in the printing industry, good luck.
What do you mean, good luck?
Are you talking about with tariffs, panic bomb? Or are you talking about here?
We have people in the U.S. that already do that. They just don't do it at scale generally. Not to the scale that you'll find in China, because there isn't an industry, so to speak, here. Everything in the U.S. of any scale is done at government, military, large industry focus, whether it's printing or aluminum or whatever. And so it doesn't scale very well for U.S. manufacturers because they only talk to you if you want 8 million of a thing. And there aren't any game manufacturers making 8 million of anything in a run. Not bad for going quick.
Not bad for government work. What podcast? Asked Mo.
Kickers.
Kickers?
Yeah, the Green Banner events guys. And I am going to lie to you if I tell you what the name of it is. Kicker would scream at me. I'll let you guys know after we record it. It's not a live thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a recorded podcast. And you come print for a monument? How do you mean?
I was saying capacity in the U.S. earlier.
Yeah. That's the big issue. Well, I say that. There's a bunch of big issues, right? Because there's the issue of cost.
Yeah.
But the last time we looked at a game, paper goods in the U.S., it was only about 3 or 4 times the cost of overseas. And there's a lot of benefit to absorbing that cost in your business plan because of the ability to communicate in your own language, the ability to get things in a more timely manner because they're produced domestically and shipping isn't such a burden. The cost of shipping can be dramatically improved and affect your margins. So there's all sorts of things that, just because the cost to manufacture a thing is more in the U.S. doesn't make it bad necessarily. Now you can't absorb 8 million. If it costs $1 in China and $80 in the U.S., then you better be doing jewelry or furniture to be able to make your margin back up. But
Campbell has a question. Have you ever considered making a texture paste with a mixed grit?
No. Mainly because we designed the texture paste to be able to do that. So you just lay down, I lay down my fine grit first, fine or ultra fine, and then I do the coarse
on top of
or fine over the top of that. Because I'm usually spotting it together there's no way to guarantee that it isn't, the randomness of the variable grit doesn't give you what you want. I think you'd wind up, having to goof around with it so much that it might not act the way you hoped it did. It's easier to layer it for me. So that's the only way I've really ever thought about it.
Doris is saying, would you never highlight, say, a robe on a model because you don't want it to take focus from other parts, or should I anyways to increase readability, or should I anyways to increase readability?
So you highlight everything. Okay. There's a danger in what I speak, right? Let me clarify. You highlight and shade everything because, again, what's your job as a painter? To recreate the feeling of light across the surface of the model. That's it. That's your job, right? That means that everything needs a highlight. Everything needs a shadow. How bright is that highlight and how dark is that shadow is the hard part of your job, right? I am highlighting and shading every part of this guy. But, how much am I highlighting? Notice I didn't use the brighter highlight down here. So when I get done with the dark parts of the leg and the under part of the knee where I haven't done as much highlighting, it'll look much different than these parts up here, but it'll still have the same effect. So when I'm highlighting cloth, I still am highlighting. A good example is this guy on the horse, right? When we highlighted the cloth on the cloak, it doesn't look, I used, what did I use here? Dark blue into dark jade into jade. And jade is the highlight. And it keeps the cloth looking like cloth. It doesn't have a lot of brightness and shine compared to the fur on the shoulders or the skin or the metal or anything else. It keeps it darker, right? And so you still have a highlight, though. I still just kept all of my colors darker. My highlight can be a dark color. If the material doesn't reflect a lot of light, that's the way it would be, right? That makes sense? So that's how you control material on a model. Not everything gets highlighted to the same level, but everything gets highlighted, right? And if you highlight everything to the same level, that's what I call disco ball. Everything is too bright generally, or it doesn't even have to be bright. It's just all the same, and it disturbs the eye. Do you know of any mini and bust manufacturers that print using the same plastic as GW? That's just HIPS, high impact polystyrene. There's lots of all of the bolt action, right?
Now it's the same material that those companies use. It's not necessarily the same techniques. Is
I
that
mean,
what
you know, when you
makes
say
it?
same material, it's the same base material. The durometer, what I call durometer, the hardness of it might change. Some people might use ABS,
Okay.
hips. They're all going to be in the same thing. It's going to be hard plastic, right?
I call everything heavy metal.
Heavy metal.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, highlighting everything the same. Brightness is very old school heavy metal. Archon Studios is all 3D resin printed though, right? So resin. I don't know how resin holds up in LA. LA is totally awesome. Not a product I use. I don't strip models very often, if at all. So
you just reprime them.
I just reprime them or paint right over whatever's there. I would never. I guess I'd have to. I never say never, but I don't think I would look at a situation where stripping a model was made any sense unless it was something I found at like a garage sale. You know, that was like this old amazing model from my childhood that I wanted to repaint. Maybe.
Yeah. For really trying to strip something like those old figures you found in your desk.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. That just had like a, you know, oh my God. And it was just like, you know, dipped in mud. You know, those super old school models that somebody had you know, painted a bunch of enamel on. Then maybe you take a chisel to it and try to figure out a way to bring it back to life. But typically, no, I would not. I would not ever look at stripping them all. Usually no need.
You had to. Campbell says I recently had to strip an entire army because they had the worst prime job. It was like sandpaper. Ooh.
Yeah.
Zazin's asking, you still planning a collab with Trench Crusade?
No. No, we've talked a little bit. They're out there doing a lot of stuff. They are very busy. And so I think it might be a deal where we just don't fit timelines. We were talking about doing some texture trainers, right? And we could still do that. So I don't want to write it off, but we're not doing like paints or anything with them. They have become the most incredibly busy people on the planet and don't have the infrastructure set up to be that busy is kind of their issue, right? Because they're literally just a team of 4 guys. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Out of nowhere for that team.
That's the thing. You never know. You just have to. You always kind of have to be ready for success, right?
Oh yeah.
Everybody plans for failure, but nobody plans for success. Not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying it's that cool hidden blessing sometimes where you're like, oh, this thing's a cool idea. Oh my.
Holy hell.
This is real.
Holy hell. They did that very well though when the Kickstarter was running and they came out and they said, listen, we're not going to keep throwing stretch goals at you.
Yeah.
Because we're smart enough to know we would never finish. So we talked about that when we had them on the stream that day.
Yep.
That big kudos to them for maintaining that stance throughout. That's a tough stance to take nowadays where everybody's like, I want more free stuff.
Yeah, I've never stripped a model. Right? I've never stripped a model. Or have attempted to. I've always just reprimed it. But I haven't reprimed a lot of models either.
Well, like somebody mentioned in chat there, that thing where they had an army, presumably that they either bought off of eBay or were, you know, hired to do a repaint of, and it was, you know, done by some manic 5-year-old with a spray paint can. And so you have to go back and make up for that. Sometimes stripping is the only answer, right? Because if there's a texture on the model because of the previous paint job, and you can't just paint over that. I don't experience that with anything I have around here, right?
Yeah.
If I wanted to repaint any of the models that we have around here, generally they're fine. Even the eBay models, I make sure when I order stuff off eBay that I have the person send me photos of any models in question that I think are like, oh, that looks like, you know, somebody took a bucket of, you know, snot and threw it all over it. Can you send me close-ups? I need to see if there's any texture. I'm very honest with people on eBay and Facebook. I'm like, listen, my goal is to repaint this, and I do not strip models. I need to get some textures up close if you can with your phone, you know, and when I tell them who I am, generally they either know of us or something, and so they will do it. But, you know, I don't pull any punches. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to take these models if when I get them, they're like covered with boogers and snot.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have time for that. I can't take time to strip.
Nobody's got time for that.
Might as well buy the models new at that point.
Right.
Which usually that keeps me from doing it because I'm like, they're not worth buying new.
Yep.
Because for me, you know, it's generally not anything of super import. It's usually just because I'm like, oh, that would be really cool to paint.
Derp6 says, don't you run the risk of clogging up details in the model if you prime or paint over them?
I mean, it depends. Sure.
I don't know. I think it's funny you mentioned that, but I've never had that problem where like I have a fully painted model and I spray over it and
well,
it
remember,
seems to be fine.
you're not trying to prime the model. You're trying to darken it up.
Yeah.
So to darken it up doesn't take a lot of paint, right? I mean, I've done it on stream, but I don't know in the recent past. You may not have seen me do it. So you just dust it with an airbrush primer, and all of a sudden you're at a point where you've got, you know, you've got the overall color of the model is darkened down to where it's just desaturated, and then you can paint over it any color you want because they're basically like tones of gray.
Yeah.
You know, we painted over a orc model. I bought some Age of Sigmar orcs, and those orcs came to me with dark blue armor and green skin, just kind of done by a person who was early in their hobbying days, and the paint was where it was supposed to be, but the colors were just base coated and with a wash over them. And he sent me photos, and I was like, oh, that looks great. I'll take them. He sent them to us, and then I immediately painted one on stream and turned the skin to orange skin for my orcs. But I used the green as the base color for orange, and it looked really, really cool. And then I used the blue as the base color for the turquoise non-metallic armor that I did on him.
Right.
And it turned out really good. So there's ways you can use the colors the model already is, if they're not, again, if they don't have texture. Right, like somebody mentioned, if the prime job is just like, what is this, and it has fur on it, then you probably got to strip it to get back down to the base plastic or metal. That you just can't get away from. But if it's color and the details are still there, just paint over it. Ugh. None of us paint in a way, I don't think, especially if you watch me and you follow the guidelines that most people will show you in the miniature painting world. You're not putting as much paint on the model as I think you realize it takes to cover detailing up, right? That's just not how we paint. We're usually painting fairly thin. So like the amount of paint I'm putting on right now won't cover any detail. It won't fill in a single little chain link on chainmail.
What's the highlight color being used, asked Sand?
White blue.
White blue.
Before it was just pale yellow and dark navy blue was what I was doing. Now it's white blue. White blue just gives you that drastic jump that makes it look shiny. That's the thing when you're doing even just cheap, what I call wish.com non-metallic metal like this. The thing is making that jump from your what is a mid-tone highlight to your brightest highlight needs to be pretty big. You know, the color difference is this. Shoot over to the palette.
Yeah.
Here's the color I was mixing with the dark navy blue and the pale yellow, right? And here's white blue. So that's a big jump in value. You wouldn't paint those colors next to each other in a normal state. You'd have to blend in between them with a couple more values in order to make that work. Otherwise, it looks like, you know, like striped shirt. But that's what you want with non-metallic metal. I mean, you could even go in some parts, you're going to see me go from this dark mix here. This was the first mix of pale yellow and dark navy blue. Mm-hmm. This was the next one, and then I'm going straight to white blue after that. There will be areas on the model where I go straight to white blue after this, and that's an even bigger jump. Right? As a matter of fact, let's do some of that right now just so you can see before we tune out.
Yeah.
I know Chris is about to tell me we're getting close to that time.
It is 3:55.
Even though he was so late today, Chad. He's still going to cut us off early, even though he robbed us of 5 minutes at the beginning of the show.
Not true. These are not true things.
100% true.
I know it's a big ask, but around what date did the repainted the orc, says Bud? I'd love to see the orange skin workup.
Oh God, so long ago that
you said it was Age of
findable.
You said it was Age of Sigmar?
Oh yeah, this is years ago.
Oh, like years and years ago? Like probably way before our live tab, obviously.
Like I don't think in this building.
No, it's probably old.
We have a methodology for it, I think.
We do.
Maybe.
I believe. No, we have a methodology for that, for the turquoise armor.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
It's. I know the exact model you're talking about. Stick it. Hey, I run a tight ship here, chat. It has been an honor and a pleasure, but somebody has to keep the ship on its course. That's cool.
Something Dutchman, something. It's just Chris.
Something Dutchman.
This is just Chris being Chris.
Right. Hey, that's why I'm here, chat. I'm here for you. But sometimes I did say, you know what? Going back to what Jason did say, I did say I would take the blame for that. So
The only reason I'm doing it is you said.
I'll take the blame. I'll take this bullet, chat. I'm sorry. You heard me out loud. We're all aboard. That's it. No, I'm sorry. Jason's got a headache today. I got to be careful. You're not taking my whistle, little Billy. Flapjack, how close did you just get to saying keeps the ship on the tracks? Now, for all of you who know what I'm talking about, this is going to be funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Flapjack. There's a joke in Family Guy where they sing a song called Train on the Water, Boat on the Tracks. And every time I blow this whistle, I think of that. There you go. Flapjack, you have found the hidden Easter egg in my jokes.
Right. So that gives us some shine even on the shadow side of the steel, where we've put the bright color over the mid-tone as opposed to the bright color over the overall more bright areas, right? We don't have any of that darker color even over here. I've painted the whole surface bright. So when we do it over here, it'll have a different effect. It'll still punch up and make it shiny, but it's shiny within a lot of reflection area.
Chat, you're going to hate it when I put these links up. I know it. You guys are going to hate me.
Right, so we still get reflection on this side, but the whole side is brighter than when we turn it over here. Slow and steady wins the race. We're getting it.
Oh my gosh.
Chris actually has two ships. One is named Never on Time. The other is named Always Late.
I'm never late.
Which one crashes into the ice and all the crew dies?
I
want to be on the other one.
This got morbid.
I want to be on the other one.
Hey, you know what? We had a good run. Thank you, Awkwardish. Somebody's on my team, Chris.
Nobody hates Chris. Chris, you have anybody from your past that hates you?
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't trust you if you said no.
We
all have detractors.
I definitely do.
We all have detractors.
Unfortunately, we hate to have that, but that's life. Because you can't, you know what, chat? You can't control what other people do, think, or say about you. That's facts.
Facts.
Let them.
Facts.
That's the hard truth, and you have to get over it.
And Ishtari says that one was called No Overtime. Oh, it already crashed and died. So we're just lost.
No.
We're on the late and never on time ships now.
Oh, baby says.
We were on time on Monday, yesterday.
Hey, we're always on time.
Well, technically, we get here whenever we decide we want to start.
This is true.
We do this for you, Chet.
Well, that's what we'll start saying.
I don't know. There was that show, Everyone Hates Chris. Different Chris. Different Chris. Michael Holtz, thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. It's been a great Tuesday. Hope you saw some stuff you enjoyed. Some great questions from chat. Hope we got to all the answers. If we didn't, hold on to them. Ask them again tomorrow. Remember, we do this 5 days a week.
Yep.
Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona. Live from Monument HQ. Q. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Sunday. We don't stream on Sunday. But thanks for hanging out. Make sure you check out all the links that Chris put up in chat. Go to monumenthobbies.com. If you have not used any Pro Acryl or any of our amazing hobby products, give us a shot next time. I think you'll fall in love. Made right here in the US of A. Amazing paint. Some of the best in the biz, if not the best in the universe. And we use them all day, every day, right here on the camera. No tricks.
No tricks.
Another hard truth that is also pretty freeing. What other people think about you is none of your business. Also true. I can't affect it. So
this is true.
Not in my sphere of influence. I mean, it technically is. If everybody thinks, if one person thinks you're bad, it's probably them. If everybody thinks you're bad,
what are you doing, Shannon?
Might be you.
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
For Jason.
Uh-oh,
Shannon, it's 4 o'clock.
And for chat.
Oh, what?
Well, then come over here.
Okay.
Oh, my.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome,
There's
chat.
Shannon. What do you got, Shannon?
So, I'm painting the gnome that I won at the fun day at Monument.
Oh yeah. The garden gnome.
Yeah. So
we had just to bring everybody in chat up to speed. We had a company. What was that called? Scavenger hunt.
Scavenger
hunt.
We had a company scavenger hunt during our quarterly meeting, the day when we didn't have stream last week. And Shannon's team won and had the most, because what we did is we sent them out with a color chart, one of the Monument color charts, and they had to go out and take pictures of things in the world that were the actual color of our paints. And whoever came back with the most, we gave little funny prizes. And so her team came back with the most quantity of colors that they found and some really funny pictures and stuff of where they found them and how they found them. And they got little garden gnomes, paintable garden gnomes.
Oh, that's right, because Chris wasn't here. He doesn't know anything about this.
Chris vacated his position that day.
I did.
He was feeling
He ate some bad fish.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, we all know that it is playoff season, right? And so hockey, remember your favorite?
let me help you out here, Chad. We have an Edmonton Oilers fan in the house.
Yes.
Because she may be from
Edmonton.
That whole Alberta side of the world.
Yes.
She's a Canuckastanian.
Yes. So the question is, I'm painting my garden gnome to reflect my love of the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
And I'm wondering what blue from our lovely lineup that I should use for my gnome.
I think dark gray blue gets you the closest.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that one.
Dark gray blue and orange oxide or burnt orange, I think, are your colors.
Yes.
Probably orange oxide. I think it's a little bit brighter.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, dark gray blue.
Payne's gray is a little too dark. Payne's gray is a base, and then dark gray blue over the Payne's gray, I think,
or
would be
could I do a
Payne's
perfect. Gray wash?
Yeah, you do Payne's gray wash over the top of it, maybe?
Ooh, yeah, dark gray blue, Payne's gray wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Now they're going to win, guys.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'm
wait
still
a
sour
minute.
from last year where they beat the Stars.
Wait, maybe was that your? Never mind. Have a nice day, Shannon. Shannon Fisher, everybody. The Fisher
Mama
Queen.
Fisher. Oh yeah, dark navy blue. The new dark navy blue might work really well too. Now, I think dark gray blue is your best bet. I'd go with that. Stick with it.
Okay.
All right, back to it.
Discord.
Links. Try all the links. Especially Ghost Hunter says we have 5,622 amazing artists in the Discord petitioning Mommy Jason for May Synthwave Challenge. Also, hello, Shannon.
Oh.
I don't know that I wanted to be called Mommy Jason.
Yeah, it's on you,
I
man.
said that I'm Mama in this equation, whereas if Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, and I was Mama.
Oh, no.
So if you want to call me Mama, that's fine.
Oh, no.
Mommy Jason feels a little too you need a therapist.
I don't know about that one.
How does that make you?
Yeah, how does that make you feel,
don't know.
Chet?
Not good.
All right. Eating fish in a landlocked state. What could go wrong? We have lakes.
We got lakes. You heard the man.
We got lakes. We have lakes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid. Show some love in the channel we wind up in, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. Adios, gang.